Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me here today. In today's video, we're going to be discussing some Halo controversy that has recently broke out over on X. And admittedly, at first glance, I saw this and thought, wow, how absolutely ridiculous. But I wanted to go ahead and dive in a little bit deeper and examine exactly what is going on here. It is no secret that the greater fan community of Halo has been very dissatisfied with 343 Industries as the developer, essentially since they took over back in 2012 with the release of Halo 4. They've stumbled with every single release that they've had since then, and many people blamed the management. There was a period of time where there was hashtag of fire 343, and I myself have been very critical of 343 in the past, and also had called for some accountability with the studio, having nothing but failures over 10 years. Recently, a 343 developer over on X had a tweet that went viral from over a year ago. Nick at the PJ Skittles posted a tweet saying, I honestly don't think I could work on a game that glorifies or fantasizes modern guns. COD, Battlefield, Rainbow Six. I've had moments where I struggled with Halo, but the weapons and world is pretty sci fi, which creates a large enough separation from reality. Now, this guy has been getting a load of criticism. Some of it really exaggerated, and he's privated his account since then. But he's also not addressed people that were giving him legitimate, honest criticism about that maybe the fact he shouldn't be involved in a game that has guns in it, whether they're realistic or not, if he has trouble separating reality from the video game. Now, with the removal of Bonnie Ross, Kiki Wolfkill, and Frank O'Connor from 343, many of us longtime fans that have been dissatisfied with the studio finally had a glimmer of hope. Now, this happened over a year ago as well, so whatever's been going on at the studio since then, they've been being led by new leadership. And while many of us seem pretty skeptical, there was an overall positive attitude towards the studio, with us thinking that they will finally take Halo in the proper direction and that the future games that are being developed and worked on right now won't suffer from the same things that the previous games did, with either the lack of content and unfinished games and just overall broken, over monetized products that they've been putting out. But to then go to seeing that Nick here is a producer at 343 on Halo and doesn't really seem to like first person shooter games and has issues with guns. This doesn't seem like the best fit for 343. And this is something that has come up over and over and over again, is that the wrong people are working at the studio. There's that infamous statement from Frank O'Connor saying that they purposefully hired people that didn't like Halo to work on Halo. This seems to be in line with all of that. And it's sad that this is still happening at the studio. But let's go ahead and take a look here at Nick, because I wanted to see exactly what it was that Nick did, who Nick was, and what his role is at the studio outside of just being a producer. Now, if you have any know how on how to Google things, this information is really easy to find. And I went ahead and pulled this up. I'm not going to tell you guys where because I don't want to be accused of harassment here, but let's go ahead and take a look at the information I was able to get. Now, I have blacked out his last name and the location that he has with this profile. I don't understand why people put their locations and where you can find them in social media platforms. I think that's probably the absolute worst idea that you could possibly have. But nonetheless, after doing some Googling, this has to be a here on this other social media site as well. Now, for the most recent thing here, he used to be a associate producer from November of 2020 to present 3 years and 8 months ago. managing multiple teams ranging from 2 to 30 members, including artists, tech artists, and engineers, creating sprint schedules for teams based on project priorities, milestones, driving the workload through stand-ups to ensure the work is done on time, working with area leads to reduce bottleneck in creative strategies with sister teams to avoid potential conflicts, supporting art leads, review by detailed taking notes, pulling action items and generating work items related to the triage, revamped the concept art pipeline to accommodate the WFH scenarios and GAAS, collaborating with partner teams to ensuring deliverables received all pertinent stakeholder approval before handoff to downstream teams, leading ad hoc strike teams to resolve at-risk features and communication progress to all stakeholders, aggregated content for ESRB/age ratings board submissions. And looking from the associate producer in July of 2023, he has been just producer, present for 1 year on site. So this is him working at 343 Studios as a producer. There aren't any descriptions as to what the producer role is outside of the associate producer description. I assume they're probably similar. It's just now he's in a more type of permanent role. But nonetheless, this is somebody that is working on a game that is a first-person shooter, that the main way in these games that you interact with the world and with others are with guns, whether they're fake guns or guns based on real-world guns. That doesn't change the simple fact that if you can't be in an environment or in an industry or even on a team that is working on a game like this, perhaps you should move to a different role either within the studio or within the overarching company of Microsoft itself. Now, we'll never know the reason why this person feels the way they do about real-world guns. Perhaps they had a scary or terrifying encounter with something like that in the real world. You don't know how you're going to feel about something like that until you've actually had to deal with it yourself on a personal level. But I can tell you that as someone who has had a gun pointed at them, I would never go work in an industry with guns if I felt the way that this person does about them. Now, I wish this person the best in the games industry, but I hope that they can find a place that's better suited for them instead of being in a role on a studio that makes a game about something that they're incredibly uncomfortable with or have issues with. But let me know how you guys feel about this whole thing in the comments section down below. If you're new around here, consider subscribing. I live stream and upload content weekly. But until next time, everyone, I hope you all are well, and I'll see you in the next video.